Guys, when there's a recession, it doesn't come up on your door and knock on your door, say, "Hey, I'm here, guys, let's have a party," and stuff like that. No, the recession comes, you usually find out 4 to 6 months after.
Hmm.
That's how economics works, because they don't have all the numbers in to tell you, "Hey, we're in a recession." But you sure feel it. I mean, for all we know, we could be in a recession in particular sectors.
Hmm.
So foodstuffs, maybe. Other sectors, maybe. We don't have all the data. And the data is inconclusive when we get it. There's not enough to say definitively yay or nay.
So what's so frustrating about this? It reminds me of Malthusianism, right? Which was Thomas Malthus in, I think it was the 1780s. He was a British demographer, and he kind of believed that the population around 1800, year 1800, would of the world would tip into the point where it would become unsustainable and nobody could have enough to eat. We would all starve to death. Humanity would die. Obviously, that didn't happen. But there's and sort of like with the national debt, there's sort of like a psychological feeling like, well, look at this chart. Look at like how fast the debt has grown. Look how fast our population has grown. How can in my lifetime, the population of the world has gone up? I would say, I don't know, maybe 5 times. It's probably quintupled. And it's like, how is that possible? And like, so at some point it's going to become unsustainable. We should stop before it does, but we can't know in advance, A, if that's even true, or B, if it is true, what the evil number is that goes too far. And then I guess it's like, so we just keep going and going and hope we don't hit that number, or we don't know that number even exists. If that number doesn't exist, I mean, it's really a very strange psychological experiment.
Yeah, and who knows what the reality is? We could be within the matrix and all that crazy stuff, but let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's stick what we got here. The factors for a recession are not in play at this current moment.
Mhm.
I do not believe that we are at a point to head into that negative growth. I think that, there's some rumblings, absolutely, but the numbers do not support it. They never supported before a recession actually occurred. There are some signals, but I don't believe that we are at that point, guys.
As a
Maybe next year.
freelancer, I'm a canary in the coal mine. I've always known when a recession was upon us before
Mm.
it was declared, because when that happened, my payments started to come slower, or some of my clients would go out of business while I was waiting to be paid, or I
Wow.
would get cancellations. I mean, anyone who's a freelancer and supplies to a very strapped industry like journalism, you just know it. And then it's like, well, duh, it was a recession. I knew that. I'm not seeing any of that right now. It's like everybody's paying on time. Everybody's like, they're not worried about paying. No one's canceling me. It's not like everything is robust, but everything's just puttering along.
Like I said before, recessions don't come and knock on your door. They don't say, "Hey, come on." What recessions do? You feel the pinch, like you said. You feel the pinch before the pinch arrives.
Before you see the pincher.
The jaws.
Behave
Like,
yourself,
who's
Manila.
pinching? Like,
Stop
damn it,
pinching,
who's
Ted.
pinching? That's great. Like, where did that hand come from? And it just creeps up behind you. I agree. I think personally, I think it's gonna happen before Q1 of next year. I'm gonna call Q4. Last thing I want to pick your brain about, Aquiles, before we let you go, is, I mean, how is Wall Street responding to all of this? Because obviously there's a mishmash. It's a mixed bag of things coming from Trump, right? Like all of these big tech companies, these meme coins, just everything is all over the place. How is Wall Street responding to this? This is your area of expertise, your wheelhouse. How is Wall Street responding? Because however they respond, it does have ripple effects to us regular folks, the consumers, like Jane Doe out at the grocery store.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's first and foremost call the canary in the coal mine, like Ted said. You know, what I see, especially on the street right now, is the fact that we've had a run up of 10% in 2 months without, we're just getting the correction now. So we're seeing that movement to the downside. It's what I tell my clients, this is normal. This is how you have an efficient market. All right, this is not a long-term trend. Nothing that I've seen on the investments that we are in says that. As we talked about before, orders are still coming in. There is still growth guidance by these companies to the upside. AI is in its infancy. It's like a little baby. It's not even 2 months old. All he can do is cry, kick, and scream, and of course, go to the bathroom. So you take care of the diaper. But overall, the overall economy over the stock market, should we say, is in a positive trend because we see how resilient the stock market comes back when, I mean, there's a lot of volatility, so it sure freaks everybody who doesn't know about volatility in the market out. It freaks you out a little bit, but the resilience that we have seen in the market honestly has been somewhat breathtaking. And I foresee more of the same this year, that we're going to see run up, correction, run up, correction throughout the year, and still walk away double digit returns in the market. I see fund managers, hedge fund managers, private equities gearing up to make a ton of money this year. Present company, we're included. We're doing the same thing. We think that our clients are going to do really well. Maybe not as well as last year, but definitely above 10% year to date, barring any calamity long term or swan event like we saw back in the pandemic. But I really don't see that at this point. I don't see anything supporting that at this particular point. So I'm going to call the recession, as I said before, between Q1 and Q2 of 26. And I'm also going to call for a new high in the S&P and in the Dow Jones that will occur over and over again this year. Don't be surprised if you see it happen more than once.
So that would obviously have some political implications for the midterms.
Absolutely. It's people, they don't touch anything in the midterms if the economy's going great.
Yes.
So it might be more of the status quo. But if it starts falling apart and we start having long-term corrections, we're absolutely, the consumer, like they did in this election, they're going to ask themselves, well, what you're doing is not working, and
Right.
maybe we need to try something new, which would
Right.
be logical. And, you can't blame the voters for doing that. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, that's all anybody can do is we'll see, right? I mean, this the thing for presidential elections, they say ask yourself, were you better off 4 years ago? And with these midterms, it's very simple. It's fresh wounds, because they'll say, were you better off 2 years ago? Right? For Congress, like, were you better off 2 years ago? People can think back that
And Trump and the Republicans will not have the usual defense. I'm not sure how effective it ever is, but he inherited this economy when he came into power from Biden. It takes a while for his. I mean, because he's so brash and so radical, and he's made big promises about, like, only I can fix it, about everything. He owns it. He owns everything. No question about it.
And that rhetoric is going to most certainly ramp up in a shorter period of time. Like you said, right before the midterms, people are definitely going to ask those hard questions. They're already doing it now. Look at all these contentious town hall meetings that the Republican side is having with their voters, because the voters have not foreseen, or they have not seen any change in the daily cost of living. And that
Yeah.
was what the Republicans ran on.
Yeah, they're doing stuff that they didn't run on. I mean, who Trump didn't run on the Gulf of America, you know, or getting rid of USAID that nobody'd ever even heard of.
Yeah, I don't know. That's all we can do is I think it's gonna be a wild ride and it's gonna be bumpy. I think by Christmas we'll turn around and be like, oh, you've been pinching me all along. I think that's what's gonna happen
I'm with
by
Aquiles.
Christmas.
I think
So
I'm on Team Larrea
I'm
here.
I'm super negative about all of this. I'm like, boo, like this is I think there's it's my spidey senses. I'm gonna say my reporter spidey senses that I feel something's not right.
My cartoonist senses say, yeah, next year, maybe.
I think it's not right. I think it's coming sooner, but we'll see. We'll see. Of course, we'll invite you back on as always to kind of break it all down because you're there. You deal with clients, you deal with Wall Street. You know, you kind of get a sense of both, right? And see how confident they are, especially if your clients are not feeling confident. I think that says a lot too, right? So I think you're a good person to ask. So
Hey, a lot of
we
traders
appreciate it.
on the at the stock exchange that I've talked to are very positive right now on the market, but they agree with me. We need the corrections. We need to have that uncertainty and that regression back to the mean, as they say. They famously say, we need the regression to the mean to keep what I call the poker game that is the market honest. So we need that. Don't be afraid of it if you're an investor. And if you're not sure, talk with your advisor. Talk with someone who actually has knowledge in this arena.
Yeah. Bottom line, whether it's my timeline or yours, the point is the pinch is coming and it will reveal itself in the very near future. That's the takeaway. It's coming. It's going to be in this presidency for sure. Like
Ted,
it's here.
Ted,
It's
are you
gonna be
getting the sense that Manila just wants to get pinched?
I think she wants to be pinched. Yeah.
You better talk to
Lord.
her partner about that.
I'm already feeling the pitch.
Yeah, we were
I'm
talking
already
about
feeling
kinks
the pitch.
earlier in the show. So
I
there you
know
go.
that's whole different topic. Whole different topic. You're supposed to enjoy your weird kinks or fetishes or whatever. I'm not enjoying this pinch right now, having been
I think
laid
that
off.
pinch is
So
in your mind, Manila.
I don't know. I'm just being negative Nancy right now. So I didn't invest the way Nancy Pelosi did. So
Just
Can you
remember,
believe that
you
a
make
congressman can invest without impunity?
right.
If I went and did
it's
the
incredible.
same thing, I'd be in jail for 20 years.
Right.
Right.
It's incredible.
It's
Right.
crazy.
we should have followed Nancy Pelosi's stocks. Not
But you still can, right? There's that investment club
There's that tracker
that does
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like the Nancy Pelosi investment tracker, I think is what it's called or something like that.
The
Yeah.
Pelosi
That's pretty
index.
funny.
Yeah.
I think so. It is the
exactly.
Pelosi index. It's true.
But
All right.
I always remember something that my old boss at Bear Stearns told me when he was training me. He's like, every day, this tells you how old the story was. Every day, 100 million shares change hands in the New York Stock Exchange, right? He was like, 50% of the people who are in these transactions are right, and 50% of them are wrong. Every trade, one person's making a mistake, the other person's doing the right thing. And you just have to remember, rising market, there's a lot. It's just as many opportunities in a declining market, just as many.
Absolutely.
So
You can make money in any upside or downside.
Makes no
Absolutely.
difference. Yeah, it's about the bet.
That's right. That's right. You can hedge. You can make money in any market.
Short sell.
Always appreciate your expertise, Aquiles. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Aquiles Larrea. He's the CEO and founder of Larrea Wealth Management. He's author of the book. His newest one is called Wise Up with Your Money. It's available now. You can check it out on Amazon, for example, and then go to his brand new YouTube channel. It's his name, Aquiles Larrea 1061. That's the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time, Aquiles. We'll be talking with you again, I think, pretty soon.
My pleasure, guys. And hopefully we'll start to see some even more good news in the economy coming our way.
Yeah, we have to talk Manila down from her pinch.
I'm just negative Nancy. That's all, because I'm not in the Nancy Pelosi boat. That's all.
It might be just the day. Today she might be negative. Tomorrow she's like, next thing you know, blue skies and rainbows.
No.
She's INTJ.
Death, rain,
we don't roll that way.
Death, rain, and destruction for 2025. That's my outlook.
All right.
Thanks, Aquiles.
Bye, Aquiles.
Bye-bye.